Teen-centric.
Teen-centric.
You're listening to Teen-centric.
Teen-centric.
KPPQ, LP Ventura, 104.1 FM.
Hello, this is Craig Rosen, your host. Welcome to Teen-centric, and thank you for tuning in. Today I'll be talking with two young people, both of them from Oxnard, one young man, one young woman, who I met at the Juvenile Justice Center in poetry writing. My first guest talks about what it is to have watched a mother succumb to a heroin addiction.
Locked up. Why have you done that? Leave me as a child because I didn't know better. I regret loving you. You passed by like the wind, not touching physically, mentally already gone. Who knows what you were thinking? Who knows if you were at all? I can see now that you weren't. As I grow bigger, I lose every part of love I have for you in my heart. Knowing that you love the darkness more, the darkness that fills my heart consumes you way more. Makes me harden with no cracks. I need to break for the light to come in, but I can't do that. Every love that comes to me manages to leave a barrier builds inside me. I'm afraid to come out. Why do you consume blackness on purpose to isolate yourself from who? Me? You once knew the light, but you switched, thinking it was my fault. Hearing you at church made me follow your footsteps to get closer to God, but look at me now.
I need to crack for the light to come in. That's heavy, dude.
I know.
You have this way with words, you have these images. You talk about the breeze passing through in the opening. I think we were talking one day and you were saying how you do like to read.
I do.
Yeah. But you're able to see that this writing is good?
Yes.
That you have a gift for this?
Yes.
Yeah, man. So, like, how do we keep you doing some of it on the outs?
Nothing will separate me from my pain. So
from your pen, no?
From my pain.
Or your pain. What did you say the first time? Pain or pen?
No, pain.
You did?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that pen in your hand. You ever heard that line, the pen is mightier than the sword?
Yes.
You've heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? You think that's true?
Yes.
Okay.
But then again, actions are stronger than words, so.
Aha. But writing something down or speaking it is taking action.
Okay. You got me there.
Well, but no, it was a good comeback on your part, too. You like to joust. But see, that's the thing. The intellectual exercise, having conversations like this, getting into ideas. About a month ago, and we chopped it up on North Korea and some other topics that, and they straight up were like, man, we never talked that way. But you seem to me like somebody who more often than the average youth in here has had conversations that are a little more deep.
Yes.
Because you're interested in ideas, you're interested in the world around you.
Open-minded.
Yeah, but it's open-minded, but it's also like you have a curiosity. And you have an intellect. You know that about yourself, right?
Yes.
So what's going to happen if you keep using? Don't you see your mind as something you should protect with every living strength that you have?
Yes. I can tell my mind is slowly fading away with the drug use.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is that you're young. So
there's a lot more to come.
Young people recover quicker.
Yeah. And
they can regenerate certain things, but at the same time, man, I would just encourage you to there's got to be some things out there that would interest you because you have this active mind. You want to read another one of your poems?
Yeah. I know all about the drugs they hide inside the music. I know the priest told you about them too. You came home dead set on what you had to do. He said demons and drugs and the rock and roll thugs. If I wanna grow up nice, I better give the music up. The melody was the remedy. They kept me up. You never approved of my sleepless nights. You can bury my records in the backyard. When you're not looking, I will dig them back up. You can bury my body in the backyard, and when you're not looking, I will dig myself up. The words that bind my hands rebel. I'm trying to hide these notes do well. I can't pretend anymore. I spit on the black and white keys. I let my feelings say it for me. Sometimes my spirit is still so scared. I swear these lyrics write me. These lyrics write me.
These lyrics write me. When did you first start running the streets?
13.
13? Like you say that very clearly, like you can kind of really remember.
that's
when it
when
began?
that's when everything started going downhill for me.
I see. It was all related to the incidents that were happening at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why these poems are like that. I've held a lot of darkness in my heart, which I know is a very bad thing to do because I explode in like specific times and moments. So I know that I need to express myself somehow, and if I don't know how to open up, then I guess this is a start.
I'd say it is for sure, man. But I also would say that, like, so there's the value of doing it because it gets things out, right?
Yes.
But then when somebody does it in the way that you're doing it, where I'm like, damn, look at this writing. Then I'm like, there's a whole nother value, my friend, which is that your ability with words could take you somewhere. Whether, it's some form or another of communication. There are a lot of different jobs that involve writing. Or these days, there's a trend in the publishing world now called own voices. You heard that at all?
No.
Well, you can imagine that the term comes from wanting to hear from people in their own voices, right? And it's like, just like a lot of things, historically, it's been very exclusive as to who gets to make the movies, who gets to make the records, who gets to write the books, right? It's usually people of privilege.
Yes.
White people, men. That's usually the scenario. But that's changing to some degree. It's a little bit harder to change the movie business because movies cost so much money to make. The music business changed when people started making all those studio records at home and the rappers were like, this, man. We're going to just do this and promote it, sell it out of our trunk, right?
Yeah.
And that changed the business, changed the game. But it's also not as expensive to record a record. Publishing is even less expensive. And so now publishers are very interested in hearing from people like you, man. People who have really lived it. How about reading another one for us?
Faults. I'm sorry about your parents. They sound like bad people. Dad's a jerk and Mom didn't see the gift in having you. I'm sorry about your life. You've had it pretty rough. Bending over backwards was never good enough. Poor thing, it must suck to be you. I know it's not your fault. It never is. Is it? Is it? Is it? I get it. Give me a little credit. I remember when I was apathetic. Scars on my sleeve for all the world to see. Saying, look what you did to me. Quick, lay on the sympathy thick. You have a right to feel how you do. You were mistreated and cheated out of the childhood you needed. Now you'll never succeed. You're so convinced you're defeated. Obsessed with the yesterday, destined to repeat it. I know what it's like staying up all night, nursing wounds. It takes more than I have to pick fights with the past. I always lose. Haven't you learned? That's no way to live.
I love that line
Which one?
about picking fights with the past. I always lose. That's great, man. It's really great. So you were thinking about somebody here? Or were you also talking about yourself?
Just like the first one that I came up with in class, the first day I met you, all these poems are pretty much a lot about my mom.
Yeah. But in this case, it's like you're talking about
Myself.
yourself and how you could be blaming all your circumstances.
But at the end of the day, it's just me.
Well, both things can be true. Your circumstances do shape you, and they are really brutal. I know a little bit about it through your writing, and I can't even imagine what that's like, man. Not everybody goes through something like that. So I think that the trick is finding a balance where you can recognize that your pain is totally legit, and you can recognize that
It shapes you.
yeah, and that there were things that you weren't given that every person needs. But then what? You don't want to let the story end there, like, oh, well, like the defeated line.
No. It's just pretty much at the end of the day, I didn't have a boost like everyone else did in the beginning of their life.
Right. And it lives with you.
Carries me everywhere I go, think about it all the time. It haunts me. It really
Yeah,
does.
well, haunts. That's what I'm saying. Do you think that you could get to a place where it doesn't haunt you?
I think what I've experienced and everything will always be inside me. I think about it all the time. Like, throughout the years, I can probably forget about it, but it's just there. There's
Right.
not a day that I look back and don't think about it.
Right.
Just, you know.
I'm wondering though, like it's almost like the volume on a stereo or something. Like maybe with work time and some of your own kind of healing process, the volume can go down so it's not blasting in your head, interrupting your thoughts, making it hard to concentrate. You know what I mean?
But in here, there's pretty much nothing to do here besides think.
Right, a lot of thinking
Yes,
time.
and especially me with my own room, I have a lot of alone time.
Right. Now there are a fair amount of programs up in here. Do you program a little bit?
Nah, I just got to the programming side.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Well, they got a few things. I don't know, maybe you should check out radio or something. Maybe that would interest you.
Yeah, I've had a radio for like 2 weeks.
Yeah?
I enjoy singing a lot as well.
Oh yeah? You're just messing with me.
No, I like singing.
You really do?
Yeah.
But you're saying like I'm not going to sing.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to ask. I wasn't going to do that to you. All right. How about Perfect Storm?
My favorite.
Yeah.
Perfect Storm. You and I go deep like water. You and I run red like blood. You know my darkest secrets. I know what you're made of. Drip drop, the rain is falling. I hear it and it comes again. We're one rainy night flood away from losing all we love. It's a brilliant game you play when you lock yourself away. You make me lie for you, cry for you, and die for you. I can't hold your head above water. I can't swim you to shore. I don't know how to fix a sinking ship or when I'm losing the war. It's a heavy load to carry, I can't hold on much more. On the surface, things look perfect, underneath is a perfect storm. I've got so much more to tell you, but we're running out of time. It's dark and dangerous, you're treading oceans in your mind. Up all night I held your hand while you wandered in the dark. You know I can't make you better when all you want to be is lost.
These words are powerful, and your images are strong.
Thank you.
You had the metaphor throughout, the drowning, the carrying, the sinking.
I drown in my thoughts sometimes.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
do.
So we were talking about school one day, and just somehow the streets hold more interest, huh? Fun, danger, excitement, what is it?
Danger. I like to think of them as danger.
You like the danger?
I'm a risk taker, so
You like to take risks, huh?
yes.
I see.
Probably not a fun thing to do, but better than the ordinary. Which
No, I
in this
understand.
case, I am not ordinary.
I keep coming back to your mind, man, and I think like you must also though sometimes feel like you're not getting the stimulation of your mind from just the sort of it might be fun, it might be exciting and dangerous, but it's not going to be intellectually stimulating the same way that you can go, you know?
Yeah.
You think you could ever start to seek that out more, man? Like college would be such a good thing for you.
I always did think that I was more mature than my age, and I know how to think better than other people in here. Like in the streets, I don't hang out with the youngsters. I hang out with the older heads.
Yeah.
I would see the youngsters, but I would just shake their hand and keep walking. They weren't my crowd. So I always did think I belonged with more mature minds. So yes, I think college is a stage in my life. So evolving my mentality is a big goal for me.
I hope so, man. Because, you know, the one thing about somebody that's been through things like you've expressed that arguably nobody should have to go through, but some people do go through them. It gives you a perspective that other people don't have, and conceivably you could be one of the people that could speak more truth to it, could be more helpful to people, could be more helpful to changing of laws or, you know, adjusting policies, because it's like, well, I know what this is. I know what this looks like. I know what this feels like. But then you become somebody who can also articulate it. See, that's the hard thing for a lot of people, that if they turn to drugs, alcohol, their mind just gets, you know,
Lost.
yeah, it does. And articulating things like this is it's very valuable. The other term people use these days is called lived experience. And it's like
Coming from the bottom.
yeah, and been through it. And,
Yeah.
and so people can go for years to school and they get these letters, you know, and then they become, say, drug treatment counselors or maybe working in a facility like this, but if they were never locked up, if they were never addicted to drugs, they can't speak to it the same way. Books can't tell you that. You said you've been carrying this stuff around and it haunts you, but you're accessing it in a way that's really, really profound. And sometimes damaged people can't even access it. You know what I mean? The damage is too great. Something's in the way. So your ability to write these pieces is really, I hope you see it as a really good sign. I think you're really on the road somewhere, Mel.
I'm going places.
Well, if you want to. The streets are going to always be a lure.
Yeah.
I've seen you.
Real temptation.
Yeah, and you know how to, feeds the ego a little bit or feels good, right?
I do have a big ego, actually.
Oh, you do? Okay.
No, I've always knew I've stood out. I've never been afraid of being the lone wolf,
Mm-hmm.
My attention was never attracted to gaining attraction how they had hunger for,
The way everybody else is.
Yeah, everyone else wanted to be known, but I guess I just did it on my own.
When I was in high school was when the first Star Wars movie ever came out, and I didn't know anything about it, but I saw everybody lined up on the street, and I'm like, I'm not going. That was my first thought. They're all doing it, so I'm not doing it. Like, just for that reason. And when I finally did watch those movies, 20 years later, I loved them. But I mean, I just see too many people as followers,
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed talking to you today.
So have I.
Thank you for your time, man.
Thank you.
All right.
You're listening to CENTRIC. This is KPPQ LP Ventura 104.1 FM.
My next interview is with a young woman that I worked with on several different occasions inside the Juvenile Justice Center. She was released and returned on 2 occasions and has really experienced a lot of trauma in her life and is just trying to navigate a way forward. And she opens up about her struggle.
So, I think the first time we talked, you told me that you have like 7 or 8 brothers and sisters.
7.
7, right. And so they've all been in the halls?
The last 4, yeah.
The last 4. So it's been a cycle.
It's been a cycle.
That's what you're talking about.
We all went through stuff. My oldest got locked up. Now we don't know anything about him.
You also talk about your parents working in the fields, and that's real around these parts. What was that like growing up in that environment?
It was sad, mostly sad, depressing. I guess you could say it was a very dangerous household, very dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our moments, The fields, I've been there, done that. It's nothing great.
You picked?
Yeah.
Strawberries,
roses, lilies, raspberries. My mother is a strawberry picker. She's always been over in the sun and the rain. She doesn't know what else to do in order to get us out of that household, in order to get us out of that lifestyle. And I don't know how else to thank her other than behaving well. I don't know if that's enough because it does not sound enough to me. I don't accept myself for what I did. Other siblings blame me for everything, her sicknesses, everything. So I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and right now it's just it's really bad. As I lay on my bed in my little room, I try to stop thinking of all the stress I'm consuming. I don't know what to do. Mama tells me to stay calm, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. And think of all the positive stuff I have planned in the future. She said this won't last long. You just gotta be patient. But that's one thing I don't got. That's why I'm back in my jail cell. I try to mellow down by writing some lyrics, but my feelings so rough, feels like a roller coaster. I was once a suicidal attempt, and I'm just scared I'm gonna fall back into that, I guess you could say that lifestyle.
The thing that I was really hopeful about when you wrote those pieces to your mom is, remember I was asking you, like, have you ever showed that to her? Because it seems like you guys have this dynamic where you get to arguments pretty quick, and that's the thing you want to try to change, you know?
Yeah.
So you said you showed her one?
I showed her one, and now she wants to hang it up. But, I mean, yeah, I feel proud. On the other hand, I don't, because, like I said, through the good and bad days, I break her heart a lot.
Right. And I know what you're saying is that enough? So you created a dynamic between the two of you, maybe that didn't exist before, or at least that needed to happen, right? Do you feel that at all? Like that something could maybe be changing, or?
I mean, not through the family, but my actions are going to be changed once I get out these facilities.
What would you say if I said to you, like, okay, you've made mistakes and you've hurt your family, and at times your family's hurt you, but like you're young. Young people make a lot of mistakes. You know, when you're young, you can't be expected to know everything. I mean, so can you find a way to, like, also give yourself a little break?
I don't think so, because not only am I surrounded by peer adults in my family, but they expect me to act like an adult. Why? Because sooner or later I'm gonna be an adult, and not only that, but you know, like they're older and they expect me to be at least mature and realize what I've done is wrong. So yeah, I'm just a kid, and I made some really bad mistakes. But those bad mistakes are always going to be there, and they're always going to haunt a person no matter what it is they do, or no matter how good they're doing it now.
Right.
So, like, that's the same thing that's going to go on with me. Yeah, I may be doing good. I may be taking some farther steps along, but at the end of the day, the mistakes are always going to be there, even if I'm just a kid.
Right. They're a part of you, too. I feel that. But I still think that it's important not to be too harsh on yourself. Other people might do what they do or say what they say, but you gotta protect yourself a little bit, especially from your own self, because you're the one that can change. Other people can tell people to change, but they're never going to just change unless they want to change. But you gotta, like, give yourself a little pat on the back once in a while. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do feel great about myself. One, because I'm still here. Two, because my mom is still here and I haven't killed her yet. I want to, provide her with something, at least for her to see me graduate. That's my big goal, my big dream.
That's good.
I am strong like my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie, I am weak because of my dad.
I mean, your writing has really been improving. You can see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you recently wrote something where it was like you kind of went to this other level. You were doing metaphorical images, and I was like, okay, check her out, man.
Sensory overload. Beep, beep, beep. Blood flow. Empty stomach. Racing, racing, racing. To get away, to not feel. My wrinkled ball can't take it. I try to be verbal, but the drums don't work. Rain falls on the window. Beep rising, fire everywhere, shutting down, nothing verbal. The wrinkled ball won't stop. Music playing, beeps rise higher. Ice is falling and the window breaks. No sounds for me, nothing to see. That's just the way it is. Sensory overload. Sensory overload. Sensory overload.
So we were talking a little bit about mental wellness, and you were like, yeah, man, I do not want to take meds, and I'm not interested in therapy, right? That's where you came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that's keeping it real. I feel that, and I understand it. However, if you're really having, like, problems with depression, problems with mood swings, you got to try something. You're sitting here with a notebook full of poems. I was like, whoa. You said you write every day, right?
I do, but
Does it help at all?
not really, but at least I could get my my words out.
Get them out, right?
Which obviously I'd rather it being heard than written down.
Been locked up.
Yeah, because then at the end of the day, that's just making me shut down more and not being able to trust anybody or not being able to speak to anybody. I want to be able to speak and someone to hear. Like, I've never had that in my whole life. My mom never heard me because I obviously don't trust nobody. Every single day I would ask her if she loves me. She'll honestly, she's a mother, so she'll tell me yes. But I don't
Didn't
believe
feel
that.
that way?
Yeah, I didn't believe that.
Mm.
Because, like, I don't know, I just been through so much. Streets made me realize a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just basically, I have trust issues.
Okay.
I'm depressed most of the time. I'm not in my feelings, but I'm in my thoughts.
Right. But you don't want to be that way, right?
I don't, but like I said, it is what it is.
Well, you start getting used to it. I mean, that's the thing about like habits, addictions, right? After a while, it's almost easier to live a life that is causing trouble because you're accustomed to it. But I think the fact that you're like writing about these things suggests that you could see or desire something else.
I
Don't you
do.
think?
I do. I see a lot of potential in myself. Not only by my writing, but I may be just a kid, but I think so much differently.
Well, you're wise past your years. Come on, man. I mean, that's what the streets will do for sure. So the minute you start expressing yourself this way, people can take notice. They wouldn't be able to know if you never put it down. You know what I mean? I think you can take some stock in this, this expression that you're doing. I mean, it may still be painful, but it's a demonstration of knowledge, of experience that not everybody has.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, as I write, I sometimes do cry. It hurts, but it's reality.
I have a couple of anecdotes. The first interview you heard, he mentioned that we had met in a class. I normally go in the evenings, but there was a time when I was going into one of the English classes and teaching poetry in the mornings, and this was the first time he wrote, and he did write about his mother, and it caused him to break down, and he ran out of the room, and normally, they're not supposed to move without permission, and so running in a situation like that could cause some alarm, and the reactions could be strong, but in fact, there was really a lot of sympathy expressed for him, and all was well. The County Probation Agency and the people that work at the Juvenile Justice Center are all very concerned about these youth. As an arts programmer, I'm just really appreciative of that level of concern and interest in seeing opportunities for these young people. And then the girl whose interview I just concluded, one day we were copying some of her poems. I mentioned that she had such a large notebook. There were just so many copies that eventually I think I used up all the paper and the machine might have even jammed, and it was just one of those things, and nobody even gave me a sideways look, even though it just was going to lead to a little bit more work on their part. This kind of expression for the youth is very important, and the staff there want to be in support of that. Kudos to them. Sometimes I do get interrupted inside the facility. You may remember, listeners, from an earlier interview with a young girl who our interview was interrupted when her dad came for a visit, and the pure joy, genuine excitement in her voice at the time just tells you all you need to know about these young people and what they need more of in their life. Parenting. I do want to acknowledge my collaborator, Kenny Dredd, who puts music behind the poems that my students recite. CENTRIC is a partnership with the Ventura County Arts Council, CAPS Radio, and the Ventura County Probation Agency. We receive funding for this program from the California Arts Council's Jump Starts grant that provides support for arts instruction to system-engaged and at-risk youth. You can hear CENTRIC Mondays at 11 a.m., Thursdays at 1 p.m., Fridays at 9 a.m.